Hey guys, it's Kate and I hope you're having a great day today. I'm here with my Gelli Plate and a whole mess of paints, my brayer, and I am ready to do some Gelli prints. So I hope you'll join me today and I'm just going to dive right in. I'm working with a few different greens today. I wanted to have some fun. I was thinking I'd like to do some landscape collages. So I wanted to make some greens and some nice dark colors, and we'll just go from there and see. This kind of looks like camo. But anyway, we'll get our first layer down. And get our paper on here. Now what I did was I cut some cardstock stencils, so I'm kind of excited to see what those turn out to be like. All right, I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to add a little bit of a lighter color, so I've got a different green here. This one's pretty bright. This one I'm going to use some of my stencils on, so I've got some circles here I can throw on, and we'll start with this. That's a pretty cool print right there. All right, I'm just going to pull up my little stencils. Look at these. These would be kind of fun to use, but I'm using them for stencils today. These are so easy to make. I'd recommend using cardstock, and you can cut out any shapes that you want, and they can be simple. Like these are just little circle blobs, but you can get some really interesting patterns and texture on your Gelli plate. So you can even see there's a slight outline to each of these circles here, and that is going to be kind of a cool little ghost print. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow and a little bit of titanium white, because yellow, well, this yellow anyway, is pretty transparent. So I'm going to add a little bit of white with it to make it a little bit more opaque and brighten it up a bit, because I'm going to reprint my dark sheet. Just getting that rolled on there, and I'm going to put these circles on again. I'm having some of them go off the edge. Okay, and I'm going to reprint this paper here. And since I have a dark bottom, I'm going to have a light color over it, so we'll get some contrast going on. And there we have a really cool print. I like this one. I'm going to do another one with the Van Dyke Brown, and I'm going to add Viridian to this one. And we're going to go dark again. So for this one, I want to grab a little spatula that I've got. I'm going to grab my little color shaper tool and make some marks in it. You can make some really interesting marks on these because you're essentially scraping back that paint and revealing the bottom. And so what it'll happen is if I put this one back over it, I'm going to get a partial print where you're still going to see some of those white circles through, and we're going to add another layer of color to this. And maybe we'll get an interesting print just like that. So you can see the circles, but they have a little bit of a different look now, and I have a little bit of a ghost print from the other circle layer, but this is just a fabulous texture. Go back to the green. Put a little bit too much paint on this one. But I'm going to start off with a single color here. And I'm going to grab this little stamp that I've got. It's just a plain old foam stamp. And I'm just going to press into this a little bit and add a texture. And you can see it come up in the print. I'm going to add some white to this one, but first I think what I'm going to do is add a couple of these, just like that. And I'm going to use my brayer and go right over these. Might need a little bit more paint, but we'll see. I'm going to redo this print right here. I have a little bit of a light print on this, so this is going to be a good candidate for a second print. I'm going to leave these here and put some more paint, some more white. I'm going to pull these up so you can see the pattern, and then I'm going to run my next print on this one. And I'm going to use this one and print on it again, and let's see what we get. Oh yeah. I like that one. That's pretty cool. That's a good one. All right, I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to use white again. These are a little bit wet still, but I think I can kind of put them over the other way and stick the paint side to the Gelli plate. I think that looks good. Let's see what else I've got. I've got another little one here. And then how about we put a couple of these circles back on there. I'm going to add yellow to this one. And kind of warm it up a little bit. Now let's see what we get here. All right. Let's do this green one that had kind of a lousy last print. I think we're going to get a much better one here. I love this. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to put these aside and let them dry a bit, and I'm going to grab something else. I'm also going to recoat this, and I'm going to do some brown. I'm going to go back to dark, but I'm going to mix some of this light green in with the brown, and we'll see what we get here. I like that brightness mixed with the darkness. It's going to be interesting on the paper, I think. All right, now for this one, I have some pieces of wavy paper. I think that'll be good. I'm going to get a fresh sheet. That's pretty cool. I might put a transparent layer on top of that. And then I'm going to put some plain yellow on this and pull a print that we can add some dark on. All right. That's a really cool print. You can see all those textures on there. This is really gorgeous. So I'm going to add yellow again. Because it's transparent, I can add it almost as a glaze layer on this, and that way I can kind of have something to go with that white and just make a nice sunny color. And I've got kind of some interesting textures on this Gelli plate that I'm hoping I can lift up. I think they would look pretty neat on that striped page, but let's see what we get. That's pretty good. I like this. Okay, let's get a different color on here. You know what? I'm going to go into this ocean green. It's really kind of like a turquoise. This is a new paint that I just picked up from Hobby Lobby to try out. And so this will be my first time using Master's Touch, but I think this color will go kind of nicely with whatever's left here on the Gelli Plate. And I'd really like to pick up the leftovers from on here so that we can kind of clean our plate a little bit. So I'm going to really give this a good press. And that's gorgeous. Oh, look at that. That's going to be a great base for some other stencils and stuff. All right, let's see what we have next. All right, I'm going to use that this ocean green again, and I'm going to use some stencils with it. I'll have to pull something out of my little pile. I cut up a whole bunch because I wasn't sure what I wanted to use today, so this will be a great opportunity to get something fun on the paper. So there's a couple here that I cut that were kind of neat. I have this one, and it's almost like a little movie reel or something. And I think I will lay that down there. And I've got some other shapes here, and maybe I'll kind of put those on there like that. Okay, let's lift and see what we've got. That's a cool background. Yeah, that's gonna work out nice. All right, let's pull these up. And these can be reused, and as you use them, the paint will kind of build up on the paper, and it will almost make it stronger with all of the acrylic paint build up on it. So cardstock stencils, they're hard to beat. All right, I've got a little bit of a ghost print on here. I'm going to go with a dark color next because I want to do another print on this, and I'm going to use my circles again. So you know what? I'm going to do a little layer of black. I haven't done black yet. And I think black and gold will look really good together. So I'm just going to grab these circles again. That looks good to me. Let's go with this one. Okay, let's see our print. Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. And you can even see a little bit of an outline from that sort of teal color. That's really neat. I think we're getting some really good prints today, guys. Okay, I want to get a darker color on this one and make some fun shapes. And I want to, I think, keep this kind of nice and cool green looking. I'm going to use this Viridian again and use some shapes on this too. And that way we can have a really nice dark contrasting color over that light background. Okay, so I've got some other shapes here I think I might want to use. I'm going to use these circles again, and I have a couple more if I can grab them. And then I've also got these small ones I'm just going to have peeking in from a few spots, just like that. So let's give this one another print. Oh, that's pretty. That's really pretty. I just love these colors, these sort of bright aqua colors. So I'm going to use these again. I think I've got a couple more over here that I cut out. If you could only see my giant stencil pile. You know what? I can't find my other ones of these, but I've got a few of these, so I'll just use these. But I'm going to put paint on it first. So I'm going to do another print on this one. So I'm going to add yellow to, actually, you know what? I'm going to do a different color. I have this lime green, and I think that will be a fun little addition. Now some of this is still going to stay white because I'm going to have some other shapes over it, but it's going to have a nice little layered effect. And this is a sort of transparent color, So it's going to be kind of a fun blend with that sort of aqua blue green. I mean, I know it says ocean green, but it really looks blue to me, but it's still pretty, obviously. I wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't. All right, let's do some shapes there. You know what, I'm going to add one more, just like that. And now I'm going to reprint. And I think I'll reprint on this side. Ooh, I love this one. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Gorgeous. These are looking pretty good too. Like, I'll probably keep them as stencils because they're kind of time consuming to cut out, but they get some pretty nice looking patterns on them too. Okay, let's get a nice dark color on here again. You know what? I'm just going to go straight into the black, and I'll mix a little bit of this olive green into it. It's probably a little too much paint on here, but that's okay because we're just going to do one print. Didn't I start with this color? Because I just got ready to say again, this looks like camouflage, but I think I said that at the beginning of the video. So that's kind of funny. Maybe it was brown and green because I don't think I had pulled the black out yet. Either way, we're going to do another camo print. And I'm going to add a little bit of texture to this one too. I'm going to grab this little stamp again, and it's just some kind of random little foam pieces I cut out and glued, but it's going to add an interesting texture. And it doesn't lift all the paint, but it does leave marks in it so that you can kind of see a little bit of value change on the paper once you pull it up. So I've got this whole thing covered right now. So this should be interesting. And then we'll be able to go lighter over the top of it. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty neat. So you can see, like, this is my first stamp, I think, down in the corner. And then you can see I had some paint on my little stamp, but you can still see the shapes, and they almost look 3D because when you push down, it kind of moves slightly. And these little white spots are where it kind of drags when you press on it. So that's a really cool background. I like that a lot. So I've got a little bit of black on here, and I'm going to go with this light green toward the bottom, and I'm going to mix it with yellow. So I'll start with that, and then I'm going to add a little bit of yellow up here at the top. So we'll get kind of a two-toned effect. Now I'm going to kind of bring my brayer down a bit so it blends a little with this green, hopefully. And I'm going to pull a fresh print of Bel Air. Did you guys see that Will Smith comeback thing? It's all Reddit can talk about. We'll see. That's pretty cool. So that's like the other part of that black ghost print, and that's pretty neat. And I like, even though there's kind of a hard divide here, and really I'm not sure if that could be fixed much with the brayer, but I still like this, and I like how it's not right in the middle. It's got almost like its own composition. So that's pretty cool. Now I am going to go light so we can do a second print on this sheet. So I'm going to grab my white, and I'm kind of looking at my color here. Now my white will light in any of my colors over here. And this is kind of a very warm, sort of dirty green and black. And I might stay warm. Maybe I'll actually mix the white with that olive green again. So the bottom is olive green and black, and now I can do olive green and white, which will make a really pretty sort of grassy green, I think. Yeah, I like this. So here's where we're gonna have some more shapes on it. Now I want to make sure I get my white plenty spread around, because we've got that dark background. So I want to make sure I have a little bit of opacity here. So I'm going to do some more stripes. I haven't done my little wavy stripes in a while, so I'm going to put some of those across the Gelli plate here. Oops. And have some gaps. I think that'll look pretty good. That's a good one. I really enjoy this. Lots of 3D shapes here. That's pretty cool. I gotta figure out which of my stencils here, I mean, there's actually quite a few that I have not used yet. You know what, I haven't used this one in a little while. All right, I think we'll do some circles and zigzags and that little movie reel, and we're gonna do it on this one, and I'm gonna add black to this. So let me get this kind of put aside. You know what, actually, I'm just gonna do this Van Dyke brown. I haven't used the brown in a while. Once I grabbed the black, I kind of kept grabbing it, but I do like the earthy tones, and this will look nice with that green and yellow too. So this will be our contrast color this time. And once you get going on these, they really go quickly. Okay, so why don't I put this right down the side here. I have it kind of coming off the edge, and maybe this one kind of, whoops, coming off the edge, right there. And let's do, I'm just going to overlap circles right over this stuff so we have some variation here. And maybe I'll put this circle right over this, and then I'm going to quit messing with it, maybe. Okay, last one. Now we can add our brown. And I'm going to make sure to press really well into this one because I've got a couple of different layers of paper. And so if you're trying to get a clean print or the print off the back, just keep going with your hand. And they also sell those, I don't know what they're called, but they're those tools that you kind of run over the top of your Gelli plate. I don't have one of those, and I haven't really ever missed having one. But if this is something that gets tedious or is uncomfortable for your hands, it may be something that'll help you. This is sort of relaxing for me. It's almost like I'm giving my Gelli plate a massage, but you get some really nice clean prints that way. All right, I'm going to do a third print on this, and maybe I'll add yellow and white again, or maybe I'll add black. Actually, that might be kind of a cool little idea. Okay, I'm going to grab, whoops, the black and add a little bit up there. I'm going to use some more of these. Let's see what we get in a second print here. Let's put a little circle there, and I'm going to grab one of my bigger circles so it can overlap all of these a little bit. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's try this. Oh, I love the third print. That's pretty cool. It's just very abstract, and you have all these interesting shapes. So that's a good one. I love these little rings. They're just so pretty now. Okay, time to do another color here. I'm going to do the lime green and this ocean green, we're going to get another nice bright background. And I'm just going to mix both of these and kind of blend them coming up and down the Gelli Plate, maybe. Or maybe not. We'll see. Because it's kind of rolling out. It's not like you're mixing it. So it's a little bit interesting. But let's just see what we get. So for this one, I haven't pulled these out yet. I made these little glue gun stencils. So I'm going to just kind of press these in there. And you get very interesting pattern on here. So I'm going to press this in, trying not to touch it with my hand, but I'm only a little bit successful. Okay, I think that's going to be a neat print. Let's see what we get. It's a good one. Boy, I'm on a roll today. I don't think I had any that I don't like. That's incredible, especially for me, because I make stuff I don't like all the time. Okay, I paused this a minute because I don't know if you guys remember these foam stamps that we made together a long time ago. So I took a minute and I pulled them out because I'm just on a roll here with the stamping and the stencils. So I am going to reprint on this one next, and I think I want to keep this one kind of bright. This is a mid-tone right here, and I am going to add white to that one so that we can have a couple of nice brightly colored sheets also. So I'm going to roll this out, and then I am going to do some stamping in it, just like I did on the bottom layer, so we can add some more texture. But then I'm also going to add some of my cutout shapes, because even when I stamp in it, it's going to leave a little bit of white, and I don't want, ooh, oh, that's good stuff right there. Even with this, you can see there's still some white on here. So I just want to make sure that I keep some of that nice rich blue. But this, I think this is going to be a really cool pattern. So I'm going to get some of my solid circles here and put them on my paper. Some of the bigger ones. I've got one more I'll put up there. All right, let's see what we've got. I'm very excited for this one. Oh, look at that. That's cool. Okay, I'm going to go back to yellow. And we'll stay light. And we have some of this white left over on the tray too, so we'll still get some interesting marks over this yellow. All right, this is going to be a great base layer for the next print. Let's start with some Viridian and maybe a little bit of black. And I'm going to do kind of a two-tone sheet again. I really like how that looks. My hands are such a mess. Maybe gloves are good for jelly printing, because I can't seem to not get messy. I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. And let me grab another stamp. I'm going to grab this little circle stamp that I've got. And if you get too much paint buildup, you can always blot it off the page, just FYI. Or off the plate, I guess I should say. Oh yeah. A little baby foam stamp did this. That's gorgeous. I love it. And this might be, I don't know, this might be a single print. That's pretty cool. Okay, I need to do my second print on this. This is sort of a nice little base, and I think I'm going to do the light green again. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but I kind of got a color family going here. Keep it simple. You can make a lot of great colors just by sticking to a few and blending them differently, and it will just keep things pretty simple. I have something on my brayer. I don't really know what. Who cares? We're just having fun here. Probably from rolling off too much there. It's probably super wet on that side. All right, I'm gonna do some more circles. And then I'm gonna blot off the paper and get the excess paint off. And then I'm going to come in and make a couple of more stamps, and let's see what we get with that yellow. I think that's going to be pretty cool. I'm just going to get my edges a little bit, and then we're ready to print. Oh, this is lovely. Look at that. I love it. You have some really nice transparency on here, and that's a lot of beautiful donuts. And these, I think, will kind of go nicely together too. Sort of a cool and a warm. That's great. And we have a clean slate. I might do, boy, it's really hard to end. I've got like probably 20 jelly prints back there, but it's a lot of fun to just keep going, and I love just getting out my supplies and going to town. So if you're up for a couple of more, I might do a couple of more. Okay, let's do another one with this teal color, and I'm only going to use this color. And I'm going to do some stamping on it. I like the stamping because it still leaves a little bit of paint behind. I have discovered in this session that I really like using my stencils on a second pull, because the stencils will leave plain white paper on the bottom layer. It's fine if you want plain white paper, but I like having a paint coating on everything. Doing either just a plain pull like this, or using some stamps that, you know, they take up a little bit of paint, but you still get plenty of marks, so it's not all removed there. And this is just a little abstract stamp that I made. And these are super easy. I've got a video that covers how to make these, but I got some thick foam and just glued it to, I saved the backs of my watercolor blocks and pads because it's like a really nice firm cardboard, and it makes an excellent hard base for a foam stamp because I can just press it and it doesn't bend or anything, so it's really nice to use. Okay, let's do another print. That's a cool pattern. Ooh, I like that. See, now we're getting some of the more busy, tighter patterns that I like. I think a good one to go on top of that is gonna be yellow. And I'm gonna do some more stencils, but this is also going to be kind of a transparent color, so it's going to be more of a glaze instead of a cover-up. And I can still go over it a third. I mean, you can go over these as much as you want, but if I wanted to add some darkness, I could on a third layer and have some other kind of material on there to get some texture. Let's start with the yellow, and I'm going to grab these little horseshoe shapes again, and they can overlap however you want. I'm kind of having mine end on the outside. Just make sure you get in those creases really well where you have more than one layer of paper, especially if you're working with cardstock, because it's pretty thick. And the more layers you get down, the more thickness you're going to have on your Gelli plate. I think this is pretty good. That's a good print. I think that's great. This is a little bit, I don't know if I love that placement, but the rest of it I really adore. Let's do an olive green and a little bit of white. I liked that color that it made, so I think that'll be pretty good. Let me just get these mixed together a little bit, like that. That looks good to me. It's almost like a little bit of marbling there. I wonder what the pull will look like. Let's do some more of these lined stamps. I really liked how that looked. So I'm just kind of stamping on here, and then after a couple, I'm stamping off the plate to get rid of some excess paint off the stencil or the stamp. That's a neat little texture there. Okay, I want to do another layer on this, and I think I'm going to do Viridian. Or do I want to, you know what? I'll do brown. Why not? And I've got a little bit of layering still on here. That's fine. We'll just see what happens. So I'm going to do some of my large circles again. I want to cover a good bit of space because I really like the pattern on the bottom. I'm going to keep this fairly tight, and I'm even going to add some of my little ones up there. I'm just kind of hunting around for all the pieces. I think that'll be pretty good. This piece here, I want to try to get in some of that paint, so it's broken up just a little bit. Oh, that looks awesome. I like that. I love these triple pulls. Those are great. All right, I'm gonna stay dark for this one and get some of my other little stencils in here. I think I'm gonna use this one again, and we'll see. But I'm going to go, you know what, I'm gonna do Viridian. Why not? I think that'll be an interesting choice. Now Viridian is a little bit transparent, so you're still going to be able to see those lines coming through underneath from the stamp. That's really something to consider when you're doing stuff on your Gelli plate. If you take a look at your paints and you know which ones are transparent and which ones have opacity, it can really help guide you on your print, because then you can kind of plan if there's a background that you know you want to see. Choosing a transparent layer for your next coat is a great way to go. Okay, so I'm going to throw this down on there, and I'm going to also throw down a few of these solid circles. Okay. Ooh. It's the big reveal. Here we are. And that was an awesome print. I love this one. Okay, I'm going to do one last print with a light color. And you know what? I really haven't done any with this lime green, I don't think. So I'm going to end with lime green and do one final pull to try to get everything up off of the plate, and then we'll be able to put it away for another day. And this is a great one too, because I'll have some of that interesting texture from that Viridian, from that little ghost print we've got sitting on here. Since it's my last print, I'm just going to try my best to get everything up and give it a really good press. Okay, this looks really good so far. I have some paint left over on my plate, but this is an awesome press. I got a lot up off of there, and you see a really cool little textured ghost print on here. So I am going to clean up my area, and then we're going to see what we made. So here we are. We made 15 beautiful jelly prints. And so I am just going to go through and show you each one. And I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can just see the whole print one at a time. So I'm just going to flip through real quick, but I really love the use of the stencils, the stamps. We have a lot of really cool colors and patterns and shapes, and these will be great for collage. You can also doodle on these and turn them into their own works of art. And I just used plain old copy paper. And because I used just a handful of colors, they all kind of go together, which is another good thing. So I can mix and match these in collage. And I have this box. It's like this little file box, and it has some hanging file folders in it. And what I did was that's how I store my stencils. And I have some extra hanging folders and files, and I'm thinking of sorting through my million jelly prints, and this is our final one, by the way. That's like the most basic one. So thinking of sorting through these and kind of organizing them into color family or something like that. I don't know if that's something you might be interested in seeing, me going through my giant box of paper scraps, but if you are, just let me know in the comments below, and I can make that a video possibly of my paper organization. So I hope you enjoyed this today. If you got your jelly print or jelly plate out and followed along with me, I hope that you really had a lot of fun just like I did, and you don't have to buy any supplies to complete this. All of these were done with homemade stencils and stamps out of paper and foam, and you don't even need the foam stamps. If you have some cardstock or some cardboard, you can do all kinds of cool effects with household items. So anyway, so if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep creating. Bye.